Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about Kirchoff's rules, basically an introduction to Kirchoff's rules. So, why do we use Kirchoff's rules? Well, these rules, they help us find the current of maybe a closed loop or a system of closed loops, which are very complicated. Okay, like most of us are probably used to using the system we used when we were younger. Like you have like a bunch of resistors just connected in series or parallel directly, and you use the series or parallel sum rule to find the equivalent resistance. Then you can find the current in every individual resistor and everything. Yeah, but there are some circuits which don't allow that, which make it a little complicated. Like maybe say take this one for example. Take this circuit. Um, Solving for current and everything in this circuit is very easy. Say for example, my voltage over here is 10 volts and I want to find the current in each resistor. Well, first you have to find the equivalent resistance. The equivalent resistance of the system, right? Because the voltage is going to be different for each separate part, and the voltage for this end and this end is going to be the same. And here the voltage will be different, won't it? So first we solve for equivalent resistance. The equivalent resistance of this system, well, formula 1 by R1 is equal to 1 by R. 1 by R is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. We basically get R is equal to 1 by 2 ohms, right? That's the equivalent resistance of this system. So my resistance for the entire thing is gonna be basically R. It's gonna be half plus 1, because R series is gonna be R1 plus R2, and this one is R parallel, right? So my equivalent resistance of the whole system is gonna basically be 3 by 2 or 1.5, right? Now you can get the current in the whole system in the whole loop because V is equal to Ri, I is equal to V by R, which is basically 10 by 1.5, which basically gives me something like 6 point, mm, 6.67, something like that, 6.67 amps. And since the current is the same over here, my current over here is going to be 6.67 amps. And here it gets divided equally because the resistance is the same. So I'm going to basically get 3.33 amps over here, 3.33 amps over here, and I've solved for the current. And then they can ask for the potential at each point, and V is equal to Ri. So my potential at this point would basically be 6.67 volts, and here this one would be equal to this one because it's in parallel, right? So the voltage doesn't change when it's in parallel. So my potential over here would basically be 3.33 volts, sorry, 3.33 volts and 3.33 volts, right? That was pretty easy. But what if I give you a current system like this? How are you going to solve it? Like you can't, I see one, two, three, four cells, and like there's too many junctions and everything. I can't go splitting them into like separate parallel combinations and like doing that and that. It gets really complicated and really difficult, and God knows if that's even possible, right? So to make our life easier, we've got Kirchhoff's rules. So I'll be coming back to how to solve this particular circuit using Kirchhoff's rules, but that'll be in a bit. Now, for the first rule, the current rule, right? So here, there are two Kirchhoff's rules. The first one's the current rule. The statement, the algebraic sum of various currents meeting at a junction in a closed electrical circuit is always zero. Now, what does this mean? Like it probably sounds very weird when you read it for the first time, right? Let me make it simpler. Let's say I have a junction over here, all right, and I have maybe I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven wires, right? And let's say I have current coming in from here, 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 here. Okay, so my current comes in from like maybe this end or something, and I have current going out of these places. Is it not color? Here, here, and here, right? So what the first rule basically says is, oh my God, um, what the first rule basically says is that if my current over here was I1, I2, I3, I4, and here it was I5, I6, I7. It's basically saying that the sum of all this is zero. Or if you want to understand it a different way, the current entering is going to be equal to the current exiting. So if I take the magnitudes, I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4 is going to be equal to I5 plus I6 plus I7. Alright, that's basically what it means. The reason for this is that charge is conserved. Like charge is basically it's related to energy, and energy is conserved, right? Can't be created nor destroyed. First law of thermodynamics. This is basically a derivative of that. Charge is always going to be conserved, and since it's a closed system like this, no charge is escaping. So my total charge is going to be conserved. If I have something entering, that same net amount is going to be leaving, and that's basically Kirchoff's first law. All right. Now, how can we use this? See, I have something like this. This is my question, and it basically says that I have a battery of 10 volts over here, right? And the negligible internal resistance. Now, what does that mean? We'll come to that in a while, don't worry. It's connected across this cubical network where each resistor has 1 ohm. I'm not going to write everything, you get the point. So, that is there, and they basically are saying what's the equivalent resistance of the network and the current along each edge of the cube. Alright? Now, how do we go about solving this problem? We'll probably be needing some extra information to solve for the equivalent resistance, but I can give you an idea of how the current is going to be divided and how we can use Kirchhoff's first rule in this case. Alright? Now, let's say I have a current of um, 3I going. I take I, but then you have to deal with fractions and that becomes messy. So 3I. Say that's my current going. So leaving the cell, that's going to be the same current entering the cell, right? Now, it let's say it's gonna enter this junction, isn't it? It reaches over here, and then it's gonna split equally into three parts. Now, I say equally because the resistance is the same in each case. If my resistance was separate, if my resistance was different rather. Say I had 1 ohm here, 2 ohms here, and 1 ohm here. Then maybe the current wire would be same over here, but here you would probably have a little less current because the resistance was more. And V is equal to RIN. So that means if resistance increases, my current is going to decrease, right? That's one way you should divide current. More the resistance in one section that it gets divided into, less the current that is given to that section. All right. So here I'm gonna get I over here, and I over here, right? Just a little messy, right? That's the amount of current that comes into these three loops. And now, from here, my current gets split up into two more parts, right? So here I'll get I by 2, I'll get I by 2 over here, right? And over here again, in from this section, my current gets split up into two parts again at this junction over here. I'll get I by 2 and I by 2 over here as well, right? And the same thing happens at this junction as well. I by 2, I by 2. Now, the current from here comes, the current from here comes. They combine and they give me a current of I because the current entering is going to be the same as the current leaving, right? Here I had one current coming and splitting into two. I by 2 plus I by 2 will give me I. Here I by 2 plus I by 2 should give me I. Here I plus I plus I should give me 3I. That's the best application of Kirchoff's first rule, right? Here again, this I by 2 comes from here, this I by 2 comes from here, and they combine and they give me I. Again, conservation of charge. This I by 2 comes, this I by 2 comes, they combine and they give me I, right? And from here, from here, from here, they combine and they give me a net current of 3I. And as we had said, the charge is conserved, the current is conserved. And since my current is splitting up at every junction or combining, and this is happening in equal ratios because my resistance is the same for each branch, my net charge is conserved. And that is how Kirchhoff's first rule works. Charge is always conserved. The sum of the currents at every point is zero, or basically the current entering is equal to the current leaving that particular junction. All right. Now, to Kirchhoff's second rule, the voltage rule. All right. The statement basically says around any closed loop of a network, the algebraic sum of changes in potential must be equal to zero. This probably sounds even more complicated than the other one, than the first rule. Now, the best way to understand it is by understanding how displacement works. All right. Say if I take this weird complicated circuit again, and all right, I have, when you observe, you can see that I have three individual loops over here, right? One here, and one here. Now think of it as a dude walking from one point and coming back to the same place. All right. Say I start over here, I walk this way, I take a turn left, I walk this way, I take a turn left, I walk this way. I keep walking, I take a turn left again, I walk this way. And in the end, I come back to the same spot. My displacement was zero, right? I haven't done anything. That's basically how Kirchhoff's second rule also works. My change in potential in one full loop when I traverse around it is gonna be zero. And that makes sense, right? Why won't it? You're starting from the same position and you're coming back. And my change in potential when I go from one place and I come back to the same place, my change in potential is gonna be zero, right? Or potential energy. Say you throw a ball up, and you catch it back in your hand at the same height from which you throw it, from which you threw it. Your potential energy is not going to change, is it? That's Kirchhoff's second rule. So basically, my change in potential as I go around one full loop is going to be zero. Now you can use these two rules, the voltage rule and the current rule, to solve circuits like this. I've given you a bit of an idea, but I'm kind of running out of time. So we will solve something like this in more detail I will show you how to use signs and everything, how to form equations to solve such circuits in the next video. Thanks for watching.